What were the best plays of the NFL season? This is your Denver Sports Daily for February 11th.
The biggest stories, the latest news. It's Denver Sports Daily.
Now that the season is over, it's a great time to look back at some of the best and most exciting plays of 2024. And I did an episode like this a couple weeks back after the Broncos lost in the wild card round to the Bills, where I did my top 3 plays of the Broncos season. Now, I'll do my best to try to be unbiased, but we're in Denver. So obviously I'm going to add a few Broncos plays. I want to have some of them in there, and they may be a little bit different from what I said earlier in the top 3 Denver Broncos plays of the season. But this is just because this is the overall season. What's the most important? What was the most exciting to watch live? What did I think was the most overall impactful? What mannered them or meant the most to each team? So these are my top 5. Honorable mention to Patrick Surtain, his 100-yard pick 6 against the Raiders. Now, again, I may be a bit biased, but this really felt like a turning point for the Broncos, not just for the game, but for the season and the future trajectory of the Broncos team. It really did. Down 10-3 to the Raiders, Pat Surtain jumped the route, picked off the ball, and brought it all the way to the house from one end zone to the other. It was amazing to watch live. It was one of those plays that you see and you're just like, wow, that guy's on our team. That guy's here in Denver. That guy's playing for the Broncos. He's on the right side of the ball. It was incredible. And speaking of trajectory, the Broncos are 2-2 at that point. They needed something. They needed to break out of that. They needed a win against a bad Raiders team. And that came with Pat Surtain. That revitalized the whole team. That was the moment that it all kind of clicked. You could see it. You could feel it on the sidelines. It really did. Now, moving on. Number 5, Josh Allen's hook and ladder touchdown to score against the San Francisco 49ers. If you remember this, it was incredible. Allen passed the ball to Amari Cooper, and what looked like it would be a tackle for loss turned into a top 5 play of the season. Incredible pitch play back to Allen. He ran it in, reached out, dived into the end zone, and scored. This was the first game in the NFL a player had a passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown in the same game. And he got that receiving touchdown because that pitch counted as a reception, pitch back to another receiver for a touchdown. It never happened before in NFL history, and Josh Allen did it. It was awesome to watch. It really was. Now, number 4, Garrett Wilson's spectacular one-handed catch against the Houston Texans in Week 9, down by 3, 3rd and 19, 12 minutes left in a game that the New York Jets needed to score, and they got a miracle. They got a miracle in the form of Garrett Wilson jumping up, catching back shoulder, one-handed, toe tap catch, not only a one toe, he got 1 foot in and then fell and got his shin in. It was first of all, it was called incomplete, but after review, that he caught it. It was incredible. That's the type of stuff you try to recreate in the backyard. But what I will say about this is that Garrett Wilson, hopefully you can be playing for the Broncos next season. Now, sure, a lot of speculation. I don't know if the Broncos are actually going to go out and try to get a Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins. Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, both of them incredible. But my vote is for Garrett Wilson. If the Broncos can get Garrett Wilson at that wide receiver 1 spot, this team is going to be an issue next season. Now, number 3, here's where I'll put some bias in there. Marvin Mims's miracle reception over 2 defenders to send the game to overtime against the Bengals. 4th and 1, down by 7, 17 seconds left. If the Broncos win, they get a playoff spot. It doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't. It never will. Bo Nix dropped back and threw a 21-yard jump ball to Marvin Mims, and he went up and got it. Now, despite what the ending happened, despite what happened, unfortunately, the Broncos couldn't get it done in overtime, getting 2 chances to score. The moment was still surreal. It was surreal. Marvin Mims cemented himself as Marvin Mims is incredible, and he should be getting more playing time, and he got a lot of playing time this season. But you see stuff like that, and how does every other team not go, this guy's got a diamond. The Broncos got a diamond in the rough here. Marvin Mims, that's incredible. That's not something that normally happens. He goes up over 2 guys and catches it, brings it down, bobbles it a little bit, gets both feet in the end zone, lands, sends it to overtime. Bo Nix wanted to go for 2 to end it, but Sean Payton obviously called to go for the field goal, play for overtime. I didn't agree with the call, but still, Still, incredible play. Now, number 2 was Jaden Daniels' Hail Mary against the Bears in week 5 with 1 second left on the clock and down by 3. It looked like the Bears were going to get, the road W. Then Jaden Daniels got the ball in his hands. He threw a 52-yard jump ball after scrambling for 15 seconds. He was just running around back there. 15 seconds running around, throws it 52 yards, and it ended up being caught for the win. It was caught off a tip by Tyreek Stevenson. And if you remember, Tyreek Stevenson was the player for the Bears who had his back turned to the play when it started, and he was taunting the crowd. Then he ended up being the one that tipped the ball into the receiver's hand. That man, I don't know how they didn't run him out of Chicago like that one baseball fan who caught the pass or caught the foul ball. I know you guys are going to get mad for me not remembering his name, but you got to get ran out of Chicago at that point. Now, number 1, easily the number 1 play of the year, Saquon Barkley's backwards huddle. It's on the screen right here. It's on the sidebar. How did he do that? Despite this being a non-scoring play, this was an obvious choice for number 1. I have never in my life seen any level of that athleticism from any athlete in any sport. The ability to spin, then backwards hurdle two defenders, that's borderline insane. What goes through your head to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to spin and then jump over this guy backwards? Look at the sidebar. He's jumping. His head is facing down at the other guy going through his legs. That's incredible. It's easily the number 1 play of the year. I can't see anybody who's going to disagree with that. And again, if you guys do disagree with that, or you have your own ideas for the top 5, please let me know in the comments because I want to read them all. I want to see what you guys are thinking. If you disagree with the Saquon Barkley, you think Marvin Mims should be number 1 because that play honestly had a case for how clutch it was and how great it was. But that is my top 5. And incredible season overall. There were so many moments this season that I wanted to put in. There were too many Broncos moments that I wanted to put in. But it really, overall, this was one of the better NFL seasons I've seen in the past years. And that's not just because the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl. That's because there were so many different things that from every different team had an amazing play. Every other team had something going on every weekend. It was such a jam-packed season with different storylines and different moves and different problems that other teams are facing. It was a lot of fun to watch. It was perfect. It was cinema. This season really was. Now moving on, the Nuggets dominated the Portland Trailblazers last night, winning 146-117. Portland scored first, going up 2-0, but then they didn't have the lead for the rest of the game. Nikola Jokic put up 40 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. He also added 3 steals and a block. And can I talk about his crazy 3-pointer from the deep corner over DeAndre Ayton? And when I say deep corner, I don't mean you're just standing there. He had 2 toes on the corner. The corner. He had 2 toes on it. And he jumped. It's Nikola Jokic. I don't think there's any team in history that could beat Nikola Jokic with 0.3 seconds left on the clock. He's incredible. DeAndre Ayton had his arm fully extended up in the air. That guy's got a 9-foot standing reach. And Nikola Jokic steps back in the deep corner behind the backboard and somehow drills a 3 with time running out on the shot clock. This guy's incredible. I'm running out of words in the dictionary to describe how great this guy is. Now, overall, the Nuggets had 6 players in double digits for scoring, and the only starter who wasn't in that group was Aaron Gordon, who had 9 points and 7 assists. Christian Braun played incredibly well. He recorded 26 points off 12 for 14 shooting. Now, the Nuggets are hot, and they should be. Coming off the back of performances like that, they've won 7 in a row. The Nuggets are still in the 3rd spot in the West, but they're only 1 game behind the Memphis Grizzlies in 2nd place. And the good news is they get to have another easy win tomorrow. They play the Blazers again tomorrow in their 3rd matchup of the season and their 2nd matchup of this little mini series they're in. Now, moving on, Shedeur Sanders' odds to be drafted number 1 overall are plummeting. In early January, Vegas gave Sanders the best odds to go first overall to the Tennessee Titans, but now he's fallen to the 4th spot behind Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, and Travis Hunter. Cam Ward currently has the best odds to go first, as many analysts predict that the Titans want him and they will take him. Shedeur, on the other hand, is being linked heavily to the New York Giants, who are also in desperate need of a QB. So Shedeur going to the Giants is going to be most likely. He's probably going to get drafted 3 overall to the Giants. I can't see the Titans, switching up and saying what they were thinking earlier and going with Shedeur Sanders, despite the fact that they love Cam Ward. And this honestly pains me because I have been very vocal on the fact that I thought Shedeur Sanders was the number 1 overall pick for a long, long time. I thought that he was easily the number 1 overall pick after that incredible Hail Mary he had earlier in the college football season. He is amazing. And if it wasn't for Cam Ward, he probably would be going number 1 overall. Now, this year's draft is on April 26th, and it's going to be a big one. This draft class is stacked. Obviously, the Broncos have a lot of different options at who they're going to be looking at. I want the Broncos to hopefully take Ashton Jeanty if he's still there, which a lot of draft projections are saying that he will still be on the board. But then there's also Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. That would be incredible too. There's so many different movements that the Broncos can make, different little adjustments that they can do. It's going to be a fun draft. It's going to be a very fun draft. Obviously, last year, there's not much beating it when the Broncos are drafting their QB in round 1. That hasn't happened very often for the Broncos. So this year won't be as exciting for the Broncos as last year. But overall, this draft is going to be a big one. Now that's going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. I'm back with you guys again tomorrow, previewing a Nuggets game day. They're taking on the Blazers. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously, there's going to be a lot more draft talk for the Broncos. That's what we got now. Up until April, we got a lot of draft talk going on. Now that is going to do it for your Denver Sports Daily. Until tomorrow, I hope you guys have the great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye, guys.